We are trying this. Let's see if anybody will show up. Wow, 10 seconds in, nobody's showing up. Like, what's really good? Let me stop. All right. We're just going to give it a couple of minutes here to get people in, and then we're going to be talking. Hey, Peggy. Hey, Tiana. How are you guys? I'm so excited. This is so live. Hey, Chris. Is it Christine? Christine? I hope I'm saying that right. Am I saying that right? Hey, Purple Frilly. Hi, guys. Hi. I'm so excited. Was fidgeting on how to do this. I was basically like researching tutorials on how to go live. I wanted to come in and do a quick video with you guys, but you know what? I want to answer some questions. Hey, Gina. Is it Jana? Jane. I'm sorry if I'm gonna butcher your name. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I can't even read that well. Anyway, I just want to come and answer you guys on a Q&A. A couple of people have been leaving me questions on how to become fashion designer, and the last video that I had posted. Thank you. Hope you be a famous fashion designer. Yes, I hope so too. Very soon. I am working on it. Loves from Syria. Oh, that is so wonderful. I got love coming from Syria. Hey, from London. Hi, Maria. So I wanted to come in and do a live session of a Q&A to answer some of you guys' questions on how to become how to become a fashion designer. A lot of people have been leaving me comments and questions on the last video that I did about someone who reached out to me about fashion school and some of the troubles that she was having during her time in fashion school. So I wanted to go and answer some of these questions that was on that video. So I'm going to pull that video up real quick so we can go through some of the questions. Also, you can leave your questions here as well so I can go ahead and answer them. This is going to be my basically opinion based off of my story and my life. I'm going to be talking about fashion school, which I did go to, and will always rep for fashion school and going to school, period. But I also will rep for self-made because, like I said in my other video, let me pull that video up, that fashion school does not teach you everything. So at the end, when you leave fashion school, you're going to have to basically teach yourself some techniques and how to become what kind of designer you want to become. So I'm going to go over that as well. So we're gonna go into the details. So give me a few minutes. Let me pull this video up so I can see some of the questions that was on there, and then
hi Daniela, my name is.
We're gonna go and start the session. Oh my gosh, this is so live. This is crazy. I find it so crazy. Hey. I find it so crazy that I can interact with you guys live in a session. I love you all. Like, I can't believe you guys are showing up. Like, I wasn't thinking that everybody gonna show up here, you know. So this is so fun. Okay, so we're gonna get started on some of these questions and see okay, so I'm gonna be fidgeting with this. I don't know how this thing works, so I'm gonna see if I can pull, like, can this be like the screen be separated? Like, how do you, I can't rotate this. Let me see, super chat. Wow. Okay, I know I'm not supposed to be doing this right now, but okay, I don't know. All right, so we're just gonna jump into the questions now. I'm gonna have to figure this along the way. This is so confusing, but all right. Okay, so let's talk about how to become a fashion designer. So now, you know, there's so many ways of how to become a fashion designer, but for me, I started 11 years ago, and that was what year was that? Like 2005? No. That's when I graduated. 2004. Okay, so at that time, I was basically being inspired by big top designers on television, seeing red carpet events like Oscars and Emmys, and all these designers be designing for the celebrities and the actresses and actors. And I always dreamed of, having my own design label and doing that. And I wondered how they became that way. How are they able to, create clothing for top level, people in the world. So I said, I need to start researching this. And when I was in high school, my high school at the time was like, when you're at your junior year, you're supposed to figure out exactly what school you want to go to and research, the colleges for what who you want to be when you grow up, basically. And I was like, I'm really interested in fashion, and I wanted to become a fashion designer, and I wanted to know what schools are available for me to go. At the end of the day, my parents wanted me to go to college, and I didn't want to kind of disappoint them, because I have respect for my parents and I understand where they're coming from, because they didn't have the opportunity to go to college, and I do. So I should try to at least get as much education and learn. So that being said, I wanted to do fashion. They wanted me to go into medical, because that's what they believe, that people in medical make a lot of money and there's nothing else besides that. So it's probably a lot of you guys out there that have this problem too, where your parents might think that being a doctor or a lawyer or something that shows that you have you can make a lot of money, that you should go and go for school for that. And they were pushing me to be like a nurse or a doctor or something like that. So anyway, for me, I'm very creative. I didn't want to go in that direction. I'm not interested to be in the medical field. So I said, I want to go and try fashion design. So I told them that. They were a bit disappointed, but they felt like, all right, since I'm going to go to school for fashion design, they would support it. So I went and researched the schools. I decided that, okay, so if I want to become a fashion designer like the ones I see on TV, what do they do? How do they become that? And what was available for me at the time was to go to college. And I wanted to get my education on how to be that person. So some of the designers went to school, so I decided to do that. And when I researched the school, I researched Parsons in New York, FIT, and that was it. That was the only schools that was available at that time. But during the time I was in my senior year in high school, I was able to get an opportunity to do an internship in fashion design, so I can really understand if this is something I really want to get into. And luckily enough, I was able to get into a internship at a fabric company. And this fabric company, how they work is they have fabric, and she's kind of like, this company is like kind of like the middleman. So instead of going directly to the fabric company, the designers will go and hire a third party to communicate with the fabric company, and then those people communicate, and whatever was trending or what's happening in the scene of the fabrics, they go ahead and get it from the fabric companies or the fabric mills. That's what it's called, the fabric mills. And they will go and get those fabrics and go to the design house and show the designers what the latest fabrics are for the trending for that year. So if it's spring, right now it's going to be spring 18 they're going to be working on, because the fashion's a year ahead. So I think it's spring 18 they're going to be working on right now. So they're going to be showing them the spring fabrics for the following year. So everybody's basically going out, getting the fabric information, what prints are going to be, popping, what the trends that's happening in the market. This is what you should be getting onto. So they'll go to the design house, show the designers, okay, these are the fabrics available, and if you want to buy sample yardage, you go and purchase that way. And then if they approve the fabric, then they will buy from the middleman, and then they'll go and the middleman would go and buy in bulk, and then everybody would get their cut. So I was doing that when I first started. So I was able to go into the appointments and see the design houses and see what the designers were doing. So I kind of got a, peek into what an office would look like. And that's when I really realized that I really wanted to go into this and do it. So while I was interning for my former boss at that time, she recommended me a school that she worked with some of the interns that came from there. And this school basically focused 100% on fashion design. And my thing was, I did not want to go to a school that teach English, teach math, and all this extra classes that I really don't want to pay for. I just want to focus my attention on fashion design. And I felt like the school that she told me to go to did that. So I researched them. And when I researched FIT, I got a chance to see what the curriculum offered. So I went, and they wanted me to do a portfolio. And the portfolio for FIT, when you apply to the school, they want you to start sketching. And I didn't really sketch too much when I was in high school. And I didn't want people to determine my passion for fashion by my sketching. And on top of that, fashion is very cliche. Like, they have this thing where you need to look like this and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, listen, I'm not like that yet, maybe. So I don't want you to determine my sketches because I'm not the way you seem. I'm very determined, and I want to do my best, and I will give it my all. So I'm not going to go ahead. I don't feel like you should judge me based off of my sketching. I feel like you should judge me based off of the passion I have behind. But in fashion is more, visuals and, the attitude and stuff like that. So anyway, that kind of turned me off a little bit. I don't know if I was discouraged or I felt nervous. Looking back at it, I kind of felt like maybe I could have gave it a try, but I chose not to. Also, it was a bit pricey for me to go to. Parsons was really expensive, and I was like, my parents can't really afford that or help me, and they didn't want me to get me a part-time job. They wanted me to fully focus on fashion. So I'm focused on school, period. So that school that my former boss had mentioned to me said, go here, see what they offer. If you like it, I think you should go. It's a really good school. So I went based off recommendation. So I went to Tobe-Coburn school. It was for fashion design. And at the time when I went, people in the industry, they basically knew about the school of the wood. And these are more older people where they came in the industry with no experience of education. Like, education is out the door. Like, what is that? Like, basically you're supposed to come in with experience. That was what it was. Now, I think they probably looking for bachelors, and I don't know if they're looking for masters. I was definitely not going for no masters at that time. I did not go for no bachelors. I went for my associates because everybody at that time there was no degrees. So you can walk into a design house and they'd be like, I don't have a degree for this. I just do what I do. So I went to school for Tobe-Coburn, and it was mostly for fashion design. The teachers that was there were people from FIT, so I kind of get like FIT's education or their technique or however they teach in FIT. And I learned a lot. But what I have to say is that what you learn in school when you get into the industry is totally different. Totally different. There's so many shortcuts. There's so many ways that you can do something. There's so many things that happens outside of school that you don't learn in school. So that I will tell you for sure, that school does not teach you everything. After a certain point, you got to learn on your own, basically. So from school, what I learned from after that, I was on my own. So what I would say for people who want to go to school for fashion design, you can go to school. What I do recommend now is going to a school for a name. Now, if I had went to FIT, I think people would respect me more in the industry. And this is because of brand. Like, it's a brand. And it's like a brand, like a label. People are so starstruck with labels. If you don't have a name, nobody's gonna pay attention to you. They're gonna be like, what is this? Like, okay, they don't pay no mind to it. But if you come from a really established, even if this thing is not even that great, they respect it. So people in the industry, when I was applying to jobs and stuff like that, I was going against students who came from FIT, who came from Parsons, and Parsons is like top tier. And they will choose between those two. So it's like, yes, Sally, school teaches you very basic things. They don't teach you the most. Like, you got to learn everything else out on your own. And that's up to you to decide if you want to. So it's like a name brand. So when I was passing off my resumes, applying to these design houses, and I'm going against other people from FIT or Parsons, they chose the FIT or Parsons all over me, because some people did not know what school I went to. I even went to interviews where people would be like, where's that school located at? Or where's that school from? You know? So at the end of the day, people respect the name. And it's kind of shame, because I have to work extra hard to prove myself. And I'm fine with that, because it's going to be my story, you know. So, and to tell you the truth, everybody who you go to school with in fashion design does not mean they're going to continue with fashion design. Some people get into school and realize it's not for them. That's just that. You know, it's like, oh, I wanted to do fashion design because I like fashion. That's not good enough, because I'm right there and then you're going to know they're not going to go fully complete the course, or they're going to end up not doing it. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work. People think it's like pretty and stuff like that. It's not pretty. It's like really hard. Like, it's mentally hard work. So that kind of depressed me a little bit, because I was sitting there not realizing that. Like, I'm sitting there realizing that, okay, you know, if you're going to go to fashion school, go to a school with a name. It's very hard to say that, and I didn't do that, but you got to be really strong to hang in there, because they will deny you because you're not from a school that's well known. So that I would say about fashion school. Also about fashion school, I really wanted to go to FIT, because at the time when I was applying to FIT, designers like Oscar de la Renta, he would come in and do courses and teach courses to the students, or whenever they had time, they'll volunteer their time to teach the students. And I appreciate a designer who's doing big business like that, who have an established business, who do business around the world, and they're coming in and teaching students, you know, their technique. And I appreciate that. And that's the reason why I really wanted to go to FIT, because of that. Also, FIT and Parsons are connected to the industry. So they basically work with a lot of people. So some students who are really good at their craft get to do fashion shows, or, you know, really, you know, I don't know some of the events that happens in those schools, but they invite some of the industry people, and they come in and see some of the students' work. So you can get established that way by meeting somebody through the industry, because they came to your school for the event, a show, a gathering, whatever they have for these, you know, shows for these students. But you got to really prove yourself. Not all students going to be able to get that you know, position to go inside go inside a, you know, get a chance to go inside a program and be selected to join the fashion show, because you got to put in the work. At the end of the day, your fashion got to be so unique that they choose you, but that's on your style and how determined you are. But again, this is connections you building within the school, inside school in your early days, so that way it kind of push you and elevates you. When you get out of school, you can able to get a job. Here's some of the things that happened when I was in school. I was part of this. I worked with so and so they kind of give you a little bit of leverage. But people don't realize that. They be thinking like, oh well, I'm gonna go to this and then I'm gonna learn that and that's it. Like, that's not just it. You got to go in there for connections. You got to go in there for what is it that you're going to be able to get out of there. A good reputable school will work with reputable people, so that way you can be seen. You take your craft serious, then you'll see what comes out of it. But it doesn't happen for everybody. Everybody have their own story, and you have to realize that. Going to fashion school saying that I want to go because I look cute in clothes, or I know how to put it together, or I like how fashion is, I want to be surrounded by, you know, the big ticketed people, you about to lose, because that's not what it is truly. And people in the fashion industry are very loyal to people who already, put in the time and work at the end of the day. So if you think you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to strut in there and be like, oh, I'm going to be fabulous every 2 seconds, you're going to get a rude awakening, because it is not like that. So that's that. So what I say about fashion school, think about it in a way for you to learn and know that it's not going to teach you everything. Now, there are designers who realize that it's not for them, they just leave. And you got to know who you are. You have to know who you are. If you're not a person, you got money or you have connections somehow, and you're able to do you're able to connect with somebody and they have like some type of factory who can make stuff for you or whatever, or you have connections with buyers or something like that, and you don't really need school, then by all means, you got to do what's best for you. You can drop out, because there's a lot of designers who dropped out. There's a lot of big name designers who went to school, and there's a lot of big name designers who didn't go to school at all, and they learned from masters. Other people, they worked for them, and they grew their business that way. So it's up to you to decide what you want for yourself. Me personally, I didn't know nothing in fashion. I don't know anybody in fashion. So the best thing for me to do was to go to school and find out if this is something I want to go through. And of course, I'm very dedicated to my craft, so I'm gonna go period. What I will say, so you don't have to necessarily go to fashion school. People do drop out, so that's that. So it's basically on your choice. For self-made people, here's about the self-made situation. Self-made requires a lot of education on your own. And that means that you decide what kind of designer you want to be. And when you decide what kind of designer you want to be, then you go and seek that information. So if you want to be a costume designer, you go and look for somebody who does costumes. You go and see what the costumes look like. What do people, what kind of industry will I'll able to work in for costumes? Or if I want to be a celebrity designer, how do I become a celebrity designer? What do celebrity designers, style looks like? Who do I need to work with? These are questions that you need to ask for yourself. If you want to be somebody locally, I want to be a local designer, just design for my community. What it takes for me to be that, you can be that. Well, self-made people is you learn the maximum from the person you're learning from. And let me explain this. So when you are like learning, you have to learn in a lot of spaces. So you have to take the time. Now, if you're learning for one specific person, you're going to learn their technique and that's it. And that's your maximum basically, because that person is the only technique that they're basically going to provide you. So if you learning from them and you're self-made, you're going to just learn this much. You don't know what's above that if you don't go further than that. So for me, I want to reach to couture level. I'm not saying haute couture, because I have to move to I have to have a design house in Paris, and there's a specific what is it? A community, or what is it called? I forget what is it called. That has to vote you in that you can do couture. You can have the word haute couture on your label, on your brand name. So I want to do couture level work, and that technique is required for me to go and learn. And I can't learn the bare minimum if I want to get to here. So I have to go outside and learn that too. So it's like with self-made people, it's just like they learn up to here and then they don't go further than that. You have to challenge yourself to go further than that, and it takes a lot of time. There's a lot of people who do not so great work, and you have to realize that if you want to get better at your craft. That's up to you to decide if you want to get good. If you're trying to stay this and that's where you want to stay, you're comfortable, you're happy, you're not trying to go further than that, that's up to you, But if I want to be like super good at my craft, I need to learn all techniques. So when I see somebody that's bad, I'm like, no, that's not the way you do it. Oh, what is this called? This is somebody said somebody pronounced this to me wrong. Oh, I know that's not wrong. That's wrong because I already know what that is. You have to take your time and learn the techniques, all techniques. You can't learn just one and think it's okay. And that's that. You need to learn every single technique out there for self-made. And it takes time to learn if you want to be that good. But, it's up to you to decide what you want to do and how you want to do it. So let me go ahead and answer some of these questions that was here on this live feed. I'm going to go over some of this. Is a lot of conversation that was going on while I was jabbering. So let me see what I can pull up. Okay, let me see. Making pattern pieces. Okay. Jasmine says, what is your favorite type of fabric to use when you design? Okay, so you guys know that when I design my pieces, I start with muslin. Muslin is like my number one, and I like wovens. Wovens are not knits, they're not stretch fabric. Actually, some wovens are stretched depending on which fabric it is. It's not all fabric. But you gotta know, you gotta study fabric as well. You gotta study your fabrics. You gotta know each and every single fabric. That's just me, because I need to know every single thing. Like, what kind of fabric is that? Let me know. Because sometimes when you go into the fabric stores, a good fabric store, when you walk into, the person who knows their fabrics will tell you each and every content, the fibers, how many, how wide is it, what is it, a face, the back face, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of work. So when I walk into a fabric store and I'm like, what's the content? And they be like, I don't know. You don't know your stuff. You don't know your stuff. Is it a blend? So I know all kinds of fabrics. I like to work with wovens. It's my favorite. I do work with knits. Knits is a whole different technique. It's not my number one place to go, but I'm trying to learn like different styles and design styles to use with knits. But mostly it's wovens, and I drape a lot with muslin fabric first, and then I transfer depending on which muslin. Depends on which fabric I'm going to be working with. So not every fabric will coincide with muslin, so I will have to switch out my fabrics depending on what it is I'm going to be working with. Okay, so let me go back again and see. This is a lot of work. I don't know how this thing works. Okay, how do you get started as a fashion designer after your university? Well, for me, I worked in the industry right after I left school. So I had loans, and I had to pay them off. So what I did was, I got an internship, and it was a high-end internship. I did my best. They wanted me to come back, but eventually they end up saying to me, like, they changed their mind. So I end up like looking for other work. I tried to internship at Oscar de la Renta. I tried several times to get in there. I tried to get a job in there. I tried to, get an internship, but they turned me away several occasions. I was really sad because I really wanted to work for him a very long time. And the reason why, because he was also getting into, work as well with the employees in there. So he'll put his hands, it's like a designer who work with his employees, and I appreciate that. So I wanted to learn from someone like that. So anyway, that didn't work out. So I applied to other places. Ralph Lauren, I applied to Bill Blass, Nicole Miller, a lot of big places, and a lot of people didn't say, they didn't take me. So I end up finding a job at a private label company. I worked there to get rid of my loans. I learned a lot about the technical side of fashion. A lot of people don't know nothing about technical. They just think it's about sewing all day long. It don't work like that. It's like if you're building a big brand, you're going to need technical. And the technical side is to transfer all your stuff over to other people to handle it for you. So meaning that if I'm going to do business overseas to go, this is how they do the importing and exporting. They take measurements of the garments technically by numbers. They sketch it out, and they have other people overseas making it. So you need to transfer all your numbers, the techniques, the information, so that way you can have it say, hold on, somebody said somebody's doing too much. Hold on. All right. So what they do is basically they just send all your documents. You got to send all your documents to that person overseas. They have to follow your directions with those documents to create the garment. You also got to probably send a pattern, but sometimes when the sample comes back, you got to pre-check it before then. Then you have your check people, your production people to go ahead and check it for you to make sure that the garment's right. So it's a lot of things that goes into creating one garment, and people be thinking like, oh, why do you create patterns? Well, patterns for me to transfer to somebody to make it for me. That's why I do patterns. If you thinking it's patterns, I'm gonna just do a pattern, just like you can take a pattern and manipulate it. Is the same way when you want to go and have somebody develop it for you. You have your pattern already made and they can develop it for you. But if you don't have your patterns, you're wasting people's time. Like, people don't have time to go ahead and, you know, do it from scratch, and then that's a whole different ball game on top of that. And you got to be there to make sure it comes out right, and it's a lot of work that goes into it. So back to my point. Yeah, so after school, I basically went and found myself a job, and I learned the technical side of what goes down in the business. Then after working in the industry for 5.5 years, that's when I said, you know what, I was also doing my line on the side as well, putting on fashion shows and, you know, trying to help my skills to grow, and trying to get into stores, building relationships with people and stuff like that. And then after that, after the 5 years of, you know, working in the industry, I said, you know what, let me take a chance on myself, and this is where I am today. So that's what I've been doing right after school. So maybe that will help you. Okay, what does somebody else say? My shirt has a tear. Can you sew it for me? Sorry, I can't do that for you. You might have to find a way to do that for yourself. What else? Let me see. Do you train? I haven't thought about training yet. It's in the back of my mind, but it's just thinking about the time between my brand and doing YouTube, and then now training, you know, it's a lot of work to be involved. So I am thinking about it. It's in the back of my head, but I'm not going to say yes completely. Okay, what else somebody said? Let me go back in these questions. I'm sorry, this is going to take very long. To go through. What books do you recommend? Okay, so fashion books. I don't really, to be honest, I don't really read fashion books. I did purchase a fashion book to learn the business, and I really didn't even read it, so I couldn't really tell you what books to read. I do think that book by, what was it, Sophia, I forget her last name, the woman who did Nasty Gal, her book is called Girl Boss. I think that's probably a good book because it talks about the digital space and what she did to, you know, sell the pieces that she sold. It's not even about fashion design, but like I said, I can't even pull out a book that, you know, somebody did as far as fashion design, like for now. Like, that's why I'm like, this is part of the reason why I'm doing my YouTube channel, because I feel like I need a journey. I need to document my journey, because there's really no information about like the digital space. I mean, people talk about the books and stuff. Let me see if I have a book. Okay, let me try to pull this out of the plug. I don't want this to die on me. I'm in my house, as you can see, the design space. All right, so let me see what book I have here. I thought I had a book here. I guess here's a book I have. And I can't even say that I read it. This is a fashion design book, and a lot of people talk about this book, so I think I would recommend it. I did purchase it myself, so I could say that is one that you can go and purchase. But for me, I didn't read it. I honestly didn't read it. I probably just skimmed through it. And I probably could read it now just to, you know, pull some tips from there. because I think it's very important. But to be honest, I'm more about the digital right now, and that's where we're gonna be heading. So that's what it is for me. Okay, let me see what else questions I can answer really quick. I want to make this an hour, and it's now like 35 minutes. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me see. Everybody kept asking me about Project Runway. I'm not interested in Project Runway. I have applied to Project Runway. I had went through their interview process. They said no. They wanted me to come back again, and I'm like, I didn't really care about it going in the first place, so I'm not interested. I don't want to waste I feel like if somebody else is more eager, I want them to have it more than me, because I'm not even that eager to go. So I'm not interested in Project Runway. I think it's just for like personalities and the drama and stuff like that. And to be honest, where are those majority of those designers? Like, what happened to them? Can anybody tell me what happened to any of those designers? It's like, I know only like 3 that's really doing it. And that's, who is it? Christian. There's a girl. There was another woman who did that. Another design, she won too, and her name is Leanne. I think it's Leanne, and she's doing well too. There's a couple of other people too that's doing well, maybe a couple. But after that, where's the whole entire show? I mean, how many designers? Yes, Leanne Marshall. Yes, and her work is amazing. And where's the rest of the designers? Can people really actually think about it? Like, where are the designers? Michael Costello. Yes, he's another one. And after that, who else do you know? So when you see the outcome of the show, it's like, how many seasons the show? I don't even know how many seasons, because I had never really watched. I think I watched the last season, which was kind of shady, but everybody's, at the end of the day, everybody comes back out of the show and they out there grinding again. So it's like, even if you get the awareness, you still got to put in the work. It don't just happen like, oh, I'm on Project Runway and everybody knows me. You get numbers and followers, but at the end of the day, you need to have sales. So if and on top of that, it depends on how much you want it, how bad you want it. Do you want a big company? Do you want to be, locally, or do you want to just be celebrity hype, or I just want to be reality personality? You just got to know what you want for yourself, and then you go and seek it. For me, I just don't feel like Project Runway is for me, so I'm just not going to go in that space. Yes, so what are some other questions? Let me see. Do you think that fashion school can discuss a fashion? I don't understand that question. I came in late. How do you learn all the techniques you know now? I learned all the techniques by studying other people. You look at garments. You need to go into, I told people that too all the time when they come and DM me questions like, oh, how do you do this? How do you do that? No, go to the store. You go to the stores that you like. Go to the brands, even if they got to start with a department store. You're market researching. You go to the store, you look at the clothes, you look inside the clothes. How is this made? What people look for in this garment? What are some of the things that are trending on the floor? Like, what are the things that you got to observe people as well too. What are people picking up? What do they have in their hand? What do they gravitate to? Is that rack empty? Is it full? You got to study. Like, you have to study your craft. If you're not studying your craft, then you don't know everything. You don't know everything. You need to learn everything you can. So for me, as far as technique, I look at garments. I can tell when a garment's well made. I can tell when a garment is homemade. I can tell when a garment is really expensive. I can tell when a garment is inexpensive. I can tell everything because I've been through everything from high to low, and I don't mind any of it. I just pick from what I like, and I continue to do that. But I experience everything, and that's what makes you a good designer, when you're able to adapt and adjust yourself from all levels. Somebody who can do that, you bomb. But if you can't, you just pigeonhole yourself to one thing. And these days, you can't be just one thing. You got to be a multiple things. Okay. Did you get your degree? Yes, I got fashion design degree, associates. Do you ever mind in fashion design, merchandising? Fashion merchandising is like buying, or I think it's like merchandising, like visual, where you decide around the floor of the design, like, you know, in the stores, what works together, who it should be paired together, what basically about the customer, like, you know, you basically know your customer. My customer's gonna buy this, they're not into all of that, you know, can we, you know, take this apart? That's more of in the buying side of fashion. The buyers basically merchandise. I think also you can do that in design houses as well. You would basically, the top head designer of the design house should know about the merchandise, meaning that they know what the buyers are going to be interested in, so they merchandise the items, like the designs, more to get the buyer to purchase. So they don't do certain things, or they know that the buyer's going to want this, maybe we should put in all these colors, or maybe we should, you know, take this away and add this. You know, you already know. But merchandising would be on the buyer end, and they have more of a understanding of their customer because they know what sells in the store and what the customer usually buys. So they'll continue to keep on buying based off of that. Okay, what else? What would you say that you wish you could have done in advance yourself, or any regrets? Like I said, not regret, but I kind of felt like if I went to a more established school like FIT or Parsons, I would have got a little bit more respect. But since I'm creating my own story, you know, people like to hear stories about people doing like, oh my gosh, she didn't have no college degrees, but for some reason she's self-made, so she's able to teach herself how to do this, Y, and Z. And when you put out the work and you show it and they wow or are amazed about it, then they'll give you that type of respect. But you got to work very long for that happens. So since I don't have that big ticket name school, and I rep for the school that I went to, so I'm not going to ever deny that. I feel like that's part of my story, and I respect it. And I will always talk about that, and that's that. So I don't regret that. I wish I was able to get into those design houses that I applied to, but at the end of the day, the industry at that time, the industry was so, I don't want to say racist, but there's a lot of discrimination was going on, and it was worse then than it is now. So I don't know if that, I can't say that didn't play a part in it, but in these offices, there's not a lot of people like me in there. That's all I gotta say. Okay, what else are the people saying? What books you recommend? Into that already? I'm sorry. Do you recommend using fishing lines for sewing? Does it make it more what's fishing lines? I don't know what fishing lines are. Maybe someone can tell me, or you can tell me. Friday, March, ask that question. What school did you go to? I answered that already. What would you recommend to put in a first professional portfolio that is different from school portfolios and interviews? Okay, it depends. It depends on which design house are you applying to. If it's technical, if it's a more private label depend on who private label they working for. If it's working for private labels that work for businesses like Walmart, Macy's, JCPenney's, they want to see more technical stuff in your portfolio. If it's more like high end, you may want to have more sketches of a particular theme and trend, and you want to make sure that you showcase that trend for that design house. So if it's like a luxury, ready to wear, make sure your clothes are make sure your designs are ready to wear. If it's evening wear designer, make sure your portfolio looks like an evening wear that's geared to the design house. Because they tend to look at your portfolio and like, oh, your style is not fit for us. So you don't want that. So you got to make sure your portfolio is fit for it. And if you are like, contemporary, like I don't know, a Zara, then you have like the DVF. You want to have sketches, a mix of sketches and technical in your portfolio. Okay. Do you ever sew a hijab? No, I never sewed a hijab. I think they're very beautiful. I haven't sewn one, so we'll see. Maybe I'll do one in the future for a specific reason. I don't want to just do it just because I want to do it. I came late. How do you learn all your tech? I answered that question already. Do you think the fashion school can? I don't understand that question. I have a scholarship for SCAD. I don't know too much information about SCAD. I live in New York, so I only know about Parsons and FIT. So I only can answer those questions. And the school I went to with Tobe-Coburn school, those are the schools I can answer. There's also FITM. I think FITM, and there was another school I was accepted to a school. I forgot to mention this. I was accepted to another school in Chicago. I forget what school it was, and I was so scared. I didn't want to go to Chicago, all the way to Chicago, so I got nervous. And I'm like, I'm here in New York. Why am I running to Chicago for school? They got some fantastic. This is the capital, fashion capital. Why am I running away? But I kind of got scared, and I was like, I'm gonna stay here in New York. But I forgot this name of the school that's in Chicago. I don't know if it was Fashion Institute. No, that's FIT. What am I talking about? Oh my goodness, there's so many questions here. I can't even go through this. This is hard to do this on mobile. This is why I wanted to do it on my computer, but it's so confusing on the computer. I know I'm rambling right now. Let me just stop. Yeah, I answered that just now. What is this? I answered a fashion book. SCAD, okay. Fine. How do you find what specific major to do in fashion starting out? I think you have to decide what you want to be. Do I want to be on the buying side, or do I want to design? But sometimes people figure it out when they in the program. So you go for fashion design, and you go for, and you realize it's not for you, so you transfer into something else. So it's up to you. You gotta try everything out. What do you do with scrap fabric? Any tips? Scrap fabrics, I think you as a person have to get creative and start thinking outside the box. You can do anything with scrap fabrics. You can make headbands. You can do patches. You can, there's so many things you can do. This is your time to get creative. Do you use a manufacturer? Right now, I do not use a manufacturer. I hand sew every single piece because I'm building brand awareness, and I want people to realize that I'm hand sewing my pieces and I take my craft very seriously. So when I finally do pick up speed, I can go and hire somebody to say, okay, I want my pieces to be, I know who to hire when I'm looking for a certain type of person. But I want people to start realizing that my work is, I'm very serious about my work, and I want you to see how much time and effort I take to create my pieces. So that's why I hand sew them right now, but I will eventually move for somebody who's gonna sew them for me. I can't do everything myself. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here. I know I'm like taking Okay, so Do you need to be a tailor? You can hire somebody to sew for you if you want. You can hire somebody to sew for you. You can go and choose to sew for yourself. There's a lot of information online that teach you how to sew. If you have the cash, I wouldn't recommend that in the beginning, because if you're still trying to determine what kind of style you are putting out, I recommend you to do your own sewing, so that way you'll know trial and error what people like and what people don't like. If you're sitting here wasting money having someone sew for you and you have no idea what you want, that's wasting money. And I think when you are a designer, you basically have to be aware of how much things cost when you're making things, because a lot of people, what they're doing is they're purchasing things and they're spending money, and they're breaking even or not making anything out of it. And that's not the way it's supposed to go. You're supposed to make a profit on your items if you're making stuff. So you're supposed to start costing out how much certain things cost. My fabric needs to be this price. My trim has to be this price. If it goes above, something gotta give. Something gotta be lower. If you're going high, how much are you making actually? And you're not pricing out your stuff, how much are you really making? So if you're gonna have somebody make stuff for you, and then you're buying materials, and then you putting it at a low price to just pull in people, you're not profiting at all. You're wasting your time. So you need to really think about that when you're designing and making sure that you make a profit. Okay, is it hard to be successful? Of course it's hard to be a successful designer. Like, a successful designer doesn't just come out of the water like, I'm gonna be successful. Like, you gotta put it, like everything in this world, like you have to put in the work. You have to work hard. You have to prove yourself. And with fashion too, it's just like they're not like people like, oh my gosh, they see something beautiful, you're in today and you're out. Like, you're hot today and you're gone. If you don't keep progressing and remaining hot on in the industry, they're just gonna chew you up and then throw you out. There's somebody else gonna be popular. You're not just the only one that's trying to like get noticed and be known. You got to really work hard. Like, it doesn't work that way. Like, people think that, oh, I'm gonna start sewing today and I'm put my design out and then that's it. Like, it's gonna be a big hit. Like, they're gonna be like, okay, we have somebody like you already, so what's new you bringing to the table? Like, you need to be like, wow, so it can get people to look. And then after that, once you got people looking, then you need to keep on bringing stuff to the table. Once you get that attention, you keep making it, you keep doing it. But once you got one's attention and that's it, then people just forget about you after that. They find somebody else who's ready to go ahead and put in the work. Do you sell in boutiques? Not yet. I'm still working on getting in one. But till then, I'm working on my own boutique and trying to build that out. So that's that. Okay, so now we're about to reach to an hour. I'm going to see if I can answer another question, and then I'm going to leave and then maybe get in the comments and answer the rest of the questions in there. And that's it. What opportunity does person who studies fashion design have when finished studying? There's a lot of competition out there. You have to be determined, you have to be persistent, and you have to don't get discouraged, because you will get a lot of no's. Fashion is very visual, so they kind of also, once they interview you, they kind of also picture you within the company, if you're going to fit in right and stuff like that, so it's very hard. It's very cliche, but it's fashion, and fashion people are very visual. It's sad, but that's the way it is. So you gotta work around it and do your best with that. Don't get discouraged though. How to deal with critiques or harshness in the industry? You learn from the critique and you become better. Critiques are not bad if it's not rude. If somebody want to critique and give you a feedback because you are asking for that, because you're trying to better your craft and you're trying to get good at what you do, I think you're supposed to be open to critiquing. So if they critique your work and says, I thought that this looks a little bit this and that look a little bit that, or you could do better in this, or you can be, just go ahead and take it for what it is and look at your craft right after and decide if this is something that, I can be better at that. Let me just go and fix it. Maybe, let me look at it in a different perspective. Don't be like, oh, well, this is what it is, this is what it is, and I don't care. Like, don't do yourself like that. Because there's always room for you to perfect your craft. And don't take it too personal too. They be over the top sometimes. Like, they be over the top where you can be boo-hooing and crying and stuff. But don't take it personal, because they are just saying it just to say it because it's just fashion. But just take it for what it is. Look at your craft and perfect it. Don't take it too personal. It's not the end all be all. It just shows that you're determined about your craft and you're ready to take it serious. I heard you. I will look at it and fix it. And that's it. Okay, so how do you start a online business? You just start your online business. You open a website and you promote it. That's it. There's nothing to it. After that, you just gotta promote. But you have to give a reason why people should follow you. Is it because of your style? Is it because, what do you believe in? Why you want these people to purchase from you? What makes you different from all the other people out there? And once you talk about that, once you stand behind what you do, then people will come. But you just open up a website, put your stuff on there, and you promote it. But have a reason why you starting this business, and so you can tell people why they should buy from you. What school did you? I answered that already. How do you get your clothing out there? Promoting, reaching out to people. If you feel, what else? Yeah, promoting, reaching out to people. Try to be everywhere as you can. Choose certain platforms that you feel confident behind. Like if it's your Instagram and you're confident with Instagram and you like to post a lot of stuff there, post there, and if it's Facebook, do that. If you have two platforms you really love, do that too. But you constantly gotta promote. Really gotta promote yourself. Don't be like selly all the time. Just basically talk in a way where you want them to feel your connection with the clothes, your own personal style, and why you do your things. That's all. Just talk in that sense, and then you start getting your people who vibe with you. Once they vibe with you, then that's it. Okay. In social life. Okay, this is a good question. How do you balance your business and a social life backstory? Okay, this is the last question I'm going to answer before we leave here. So, for me, I have been designing for 11 years now. And everybody who I've been friends with, maybe since high school, they knew that I was very creative. Now, people in high school, everybody in high school, they're like, oh, every day, they're up in the air, like, oh my gosh, I'm having fun, we're going to parties and stuff like that. So I went to little parties, had friends and whatever. Now, after high school, then you start seeing people dwindle away. You go into this space, you meet new people, more people have a same connection with you guys are relatable, you have the same type of mindset, so you start being friends with those people. And the people that you used to be friends with, they start falling off. So for me, in high school, some of the friends who did not understand what direction I was going to, they fell off, and I was okay with that because I found new friends who helped support what I was doing. So from college, I was always determined in college. So I was that student where I would sit in front of the class and focus on my craft, answer questions, basically like a teacher's pet. They would call me. They called me the teacher's pet to tell you the type of determination I was. Anybody in that class can tell you that possibly I'm gonna succeed because I was so determined. So from that point on, I made good friendships with people who understand my craft, who understands me, and we build, great relationships after that. Then you have, so from that point on, you find work, you find your work friends, you hang out with them, and and that they understand as well. So I would sit right in. But at the end of the day, I lived on my sewing machine. Everybody who knows me knows that I live on my sewing machine. Danilo, what you about to go do? Oh, I'm about to go home and sew. So you're not going out? Nope. Just going ahead and sew. Danilo, what you about to go do this weekend? Oh, I got a fashion show I'm going to put on today, so I got to go and sew my projects. Yep, I'm got a fashion show. I got to sew. You going to sew? We're going to party. You know what? Next time I'll go party. Next time. I kid you not. I partied maybe once in a very long time. Hold on, I was talking too much. Look at my lip. It got mad white underneath here. Sorry. I know this is not, it's inappropriate, but that's what happens when you talk too much. But okay, so anyway, so it was basically me running home, working on my craft, sewing on my machine. Everybody knows that. That's what I want for my life. Majority of my time, my 20s, was sewing on that sewing machine. That's all I did. I put on fashion shows. I made connections. I did that. Sometimes they will call for me to go to parties. No, this is my craft. This is what I want to do. So now I'm basically have built so much of my skills that I can position myself as such. You know what I'm saying? I made so many mistakes. I've learned from those mistakes, and I kept on pushing through because I have a dream, and my dream is to one day own a design house. I'm starting with bridal. I just had a meeting with someone, so this is the rack that I set up in my home just over the weekend. I had the meeting, and I set up the rack so you can see. But it took me 11 years. About 10 years I started, actually, no, 9 years. So I started 2 years ago with this. It took me 9 years to build this. And I'm about to show you guys the pieces up close so you can see. But me being dedicated to my craft and sewing all the time, some friends went away. I was fine with it. My family are very supportive. And they said, listen, even if your friends are not supporting you, we are here for you. We understand exactly what you're looking for, what you're doing. And they really supported me sometimes when I used to be very sad and lonely. They helped me. They helped me go through. That's why it's very important to have like people in your corner who support you. That means that you don't need a lot of people to support you. You just need that one person to help boost you to keep going forward. And those people do vanish. They do vanish. The ones who were not feeling the fact that you're not coming out and this and that, whatever, like they vanish. But if they believe in you and they support you, you will choose to give your time to the person who believes in you. You would choose to hang out with someone who supports you, even though you say no at certain times. Like there's some friends who I went to school with. If I'm going on vacation, I call them up. We good. We're gonna go. That's all I need. I don't need a tons of friends. I don't need a lot of people to showcase that I'm having a good time. I just pick and choose which time I want to have fun with. You have one or two close friends who you can go out and distress and talk and laugh. But at the end of the day, they working, you good. At the end of the day, you choose and pick who you want, when you need them, and who supports you in your roughest times. For those people who support me at my roughest time, that's who I designate my time to, and we have a good time when it's time for us to go out. But majority of my time, I work on my craft because I know where I want to go, and it takes a lot of determined dedication to building that. So it depends on you. If you feel like partying more often and not working on your craft, then that's on you. That's your position. But you have to choose between who's going to be there for you when stuff hits the fan and who's not. I'm not giving my time to people who wasn't there for me when stuff hits the fan. you're not gonna call me and be like, let's go out partying, and I haven't heard from you in 2-3 weeks when I was struggling doing my thing here. Or if I call you, you're not paying attention at what I'm talking about when I have problems with my own personal stuff. Or you don't care about what I'm doing, but you just care about me going out. I'm not choosing between those people. Only people who support me and be like, what, Daniela, what's up, what's going on, you know, this and that, whatever, then they get my time. But you have to choose between who supports you and who doesn't when you have your craft. So anyway, so I wanted to show you guys some of the stuff that I did. I'm on my selfie stick right now, so let me see if I can put this down somewhere. No, actually I can't do that. Let me just try to extend this so you can see. I guess I'll do the best I can. So this is the latest piece I have here. This is one of my bridal jumpsuits. It's the latest gown, as you can see, and this was really inspired by the trip that I took to Thailand last year, and I'm really happy about that. You know, this is the DIY. I wish you can see, but right now this is that. And then I have one of my pieces here. Oh my gosh, we went over the hour. We have to wrap this up. But yeah, so see, here's some of the pieces. I just want to get here real quick to show you. And it took me years to get to here. Trial and error. This is the Monique. You guys remember this if you watched that video. And yeah, so basically this is my little rack that I showed. I feel like this is a boutique when they come in here, because this is my design studio. So whenever someone comes here, they get to see the workmanship and the craftsmanship when they come. So okay, so I'm gonna let you guys go. It's been a while. It's been 60 minutes, so we're gonna have to wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed this live session of Q&A, and if you guys love it, let me know down in the comments. Maybe we'll do some more to have more discussions like this. I did say that in my last video, but this is basically it. I just wanted to answer those questions because I sometimes don't have time to come back on YouTube and answer questions. And you know, doing this, doing that, it's a lot. It's really a lot, but I'm doing my best. So let me know. We talk later, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Okay, bye guys.